So today we'll be listening to some of these points being addressed by our speakers to motivate our hearts, to ignite our consciousness, especially the first speaker who will be speaking on awakening young minds to social consciousness. These things affect us in and around our communities and society. We see them daily, but yet we do nothing about it. We just feel it's normal, so we just adapt and then flow with the trend, which is not actually supposed to be so. So today we're going to see what we can actually do as a people. We won't take up arms, we won't result into violence, but what are the little things in our little areas of control that we can actually do to actually create a massive change when we put all of them together.
Awakening young minds to social consciousness. And for me, this theme or this topic couldn't have been more timely, more needed than we currently, than the space has currently presented us. I'm going to start off with this quote by Professor Wole Soyinka, and it says, "The man dies in all who keeps silent in the face of tyranny." I'll start with social consciousness. What is social consciousness? To be socially conscious means to be aware of what is happening in your environment. It means that you're aware of what is happening in the space in which you exist, the conversations that are happening, the narratives that are being formed, and how you can participate to either change it or remain in the space of that narrative and in that conversation. Like Stanley mentioned while he took the podium a while ago, a lot is happening, even as we speak in Nigeria. 2 days ago, there was a video that was released to journalists, I think it was first explicit to the cable, of the aid worker Grace Taku, who was abducted on her way back from her duty post in Borno State. And in that video, she made a revelation, and she said, which is unconfirmed, like he said, and she said that if the federal government of Nigeria does not come to her aid, the fate that befell Alice, she mentioned Leah and she mentioned Alice. I'm sure we all know Leah Sharibu, who we have been praying for to return, would befall her. And it got me thinking, I prepared a whole, thing that I'll come and say, but then it got me angry and it got me thinking, how did we get here? Because the truth is, as I speak to you today, your conscience is dead. And I say it from a position not to judge or to criticize, but to wake you up and call you to action. How do you go to sleep knowing that 112 girls or 102 girls from the kidnapped Chibok girls are still in Boko Haram captivity? Maybe some of them are dead. Maybe some of them have been married up, raped several times against their will, made to convert to another religion against their will. I want to believe most of us here are Christians. How do you go to bed? How do you wake up in the morning knowing that the person living with disability around you doesn't have access to the same opportunities that you have access to? Again, I ask the question, how do you live with yourself? The other time, there were conversations going on about the national minimum wage being 30,000 naira. And I follow conversations on Twitter, which is why I respect Ms. Kadaria here, because she championed some of these conversations that are difficult to hear and to talk about. And I was following conversations on Twitter, and then some people were proposing, certain amounts to pay Nigerian workers and all that. And what I heard young people saying was, it's not possible. You could see the mediocrity seeping out of every tweet, every hashtag that was going on at that time. And it made me upset. I mean, look around you. Nigeria is blessed. The other day I was working on a documentary around Univerity just after the third mainland bridge. And I saw a couple of guys collecting plastic waste that had washed on the lagoon when it rained. That's an opportunity. Most of you are students here, you live close to the water. How many of you have thought to say, let me start recycling stuff? Let me add value, let me live a more sustainable life, ensure that my environment is sustainable while making money and probably employing people in the process. We walk past these places every day, we commute to these places every day. Why aren't we thinking about it? What is fundamentally wrong with our thought pattern that has conditioned us to be mediocre and not to think outside the box? So this is what I want to challenge you on today. I want to challenge you to take action. These people that you see shouting, the other day there was a video, and I'll keep referring to her because I admire her a lot. There was a video where she was protesting the killings in Zamfara, where she's from. And a lot of people were saying, oh, now because it has affected her, and now she's talking. Do you think that that is why she's actually doing it? What if you were Leah? What if you were that young man, Precious Owolabi, who was killed in the line of duty? I remember at work we were having a conversation about it, and we were saying, like, we were sober the next day, and we all came to work, and we were saying, it could be any of us. That could have been me on the field on an assignment, and that could have been me. What if you walk out of this building and you do not return because you refuse to have conversations that will change your objective conditions? So what I want us to take away from this engagement is that we be open-minded. We do not shut down ideas, thoughts, alternative perspectives on arrival, in the space of conversation, which is why I also commend the Thomas More Chaplaincy for including women. I see a lot of women here today. There are a lot of you that are not having conversations on how to participate equally in your communities, even in your school with men. When they organize, when there is an assignment in school, I saw this a lot when I was in university, when there is an assignment in school, say there is a group work, for example, you see people assign naturally, because that's how we think, they'll assign a man to lead the group. Why? For the sole purpose or for the sole reason that he was born with a male, with a male organ. Not minding or never minding the capability of other people around. When it's time to contest for student union president, the person we always suggest as treasurer, I notice we like that a lot for women, or for vice president, are women. Or fintech, yes? Yeah. Or secretary is the natural role for women in this part of the world. But why are we not challenging that? What if we had a woman who had great ideas and did fantastic things in her faculty or in the university? What if we challenge the system? What if we challenge the narrative? What if all of us in the last presidential election, 60 million people who are currently fixated watching Big Brother Nigeria, what if everyone had come out to vote a young person with fresh ideas? Do you think we'll still be having conversations about kidnapping right now? Or if Ruga should be acceptable or not? I keep asking people, if you have a company and Baba Buhari came in, you organized a recruitment exercise and he walked into your organization and offered to man the affairs or activities of your organization as a young person or seated here, how many of you will employ him based on track record, based on competence, based on capability, even based on his age? But because of religion, because of sentiment, because we are too scared to think out of the box, they're like, what can a young person do? What value can a young person add? Do you honestly believe that a person like the person that's currently leading us in Aso Rock has the ideas that you have? Can he operate an iPhone successfully? Does he know what hashtags are? If I mention deepfakes to him, does he know what that means? Does he know what that phenomenon is in the media space? How then do you think that he can create a future for you when he doesn't even understand your reality? His time has gone. His time has passed, and that is why I'm challenging you to come out, run for offices. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if it seems like a Herculean task. There are brilliant and innovative ways to successfully run a campaign these days. That is why I encourage you that when people are having conversations on Twitter, don't just which hashtag is this one that is trending again, and then you scroll past. Be a part. Join the conversation. Who knows, it might be a tweet that you send out that will start the revolution that we've all been looking for. I'm not calling for you to take up arms or start a bloody revolution, but we have to have a revolution in our minds. The way we think, the way we do things as young people has to change.
I'd really like to start on a note of gratitude to God for making this event possible and bringing all of us here today. I must also appreciate the chaplaincy of the University of Lagos for organizing this forum. We hear a lot of times that the young people are the future of the nations, and it's an often repeated cliche. But this is a piece of wisdom that is actually rooted in reality. There's no doubt that the seeds we plant determine our harvest. And so the amount of time we spend on our young people will more or less determine how they turn out. And so for this reason, I think we have to commend the proactive nature of this chaplaincy for trying to put these events together. Now, the Catholic Church has always had a tradition of being active members of their communities. They are an essential part of society and historically have always helped, particularly in providing education and healthcare. So I'm not at all surprised that I'm standing here at St. Thomas's talking about this. You will be asking yourself, how does a Muslim woman from Zamfara State know anything about the Catholic Church? Well, I went to a Catholic school, you know? I am very lucky and very blessed that my parents took the decision to send me to St. Louis in Kano. They decided that they wanted me to have a Catholic education for obvious reasons. As you know, Catholic schools are renowned for the quality of what they teach, their education, but beyond that, they are also known for shaping character. And I think I am what I am today because I actually went to a Catholic school. I really believe that. I think it was a very significant and important decision that my parents took, you know. Apart from enlarging my worldview, I was raised by amazing nuns and teachers in St. Louis to be fair, to be responsible, to work hard, and to be compassionate and care about other people, and to always look at how my actions or lack of action has an impact on my community. My favorite sister when I was in St. Louis was a woman called Sister Maria. She was from Ireland. And we didn't get punished or beaten in that sense of the word when I was in St. Louis. She would basically say to you things like, face the wall, examine your conscience. What you're doing today, do you think it is good? And I promise you till tomorrow, when I'm taking decisions, I still hear that little voice saying, examine your conscience. Is what you're doing correct or is it wrong? How is it going to impact other people? But I think perhaps the two most important things I learned in St. Louis are tolerance and the importance of diversity, and how when that is properly harnessed and we use inclusion, we can have creativity, we can have growth, and there's a richness to the tapestry of our lives. Almost 2 months after he was inaugurated for a second term in office, President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday released his list of nominated ministers. It is a list that is short on women and is short on young people. In short, it is a list that does not reflect the diversity in Nigeria. It is very difficult, despite the fact that there may be one or two potentially really good ministers on that team, but it's really difficult to see how this list of people can absolutely serve a nation and a population that they do not reflect. However, it isn't all bad news, because as you all know, prior to the elections, a group of young people came under a banner of the Not Too Young to Run campaign. They were very vocal, they were very active, and they succeeded in getting a piece of legislation passed that allowed young people to contest for offices that they normally would have been disqualified for contesting because of their age. As a result of that, a decent number of young people successfully got into elective offices. Some states, including my state, Zamfara, Oyo, Plateau, and Kwara, have gone ahead to appoint speakers for their houses of assembly, and most of them are sort of between the ages of sort of 30 and 35. And that is a good thing. But for me, the main lesson from the Not Too Young to Run campaign is that essentially, if you want things to change, you cannot be docile, you have to be active. I am really clear about one thing. These old politicians are not going to leave the table. You're going to have to push them out. Be very clear about it. They're not going to give up their privilege. They're not going to give up their life of living large and enriching themselves and their families simply because you tell them you're old and you don't have ideas. They're going to do it because you force them to. And so the lesson for me here is simple. Our young people should not wait to be invited to get involved in politics. They need to get involved with politics because it is their right. They are the largest percentage of our population. The demography, I think, is something like 70% of this population is under 35. So why are you allowing other people to basically make policies that affect your lives? Why are you not actively pursuing the right to take decisions on behalf of yourselves? I don't understand that. I therefore call on everybody, like she said earlier, that is sitting here, and even your friends at home, to get involved. Join a political party. And if, for example, you feel that the existing political parties are not good enough, form your own political parties. I can understand why maybe the value system is different with the PDP, value system is different with the APC, so you don't want to sit at their table, and that is perfectly legitimate. Form your own table. To quote my friend Aisha Osori, the West Africa representative of Osiwa. She says, why don't you build your own table and then invite like-minded people to come and join you? And I think that is really, really good advice. But I think there are maybe 3 issues mitigating the seismic impact young people can have on our politics. And I say seismic because I think their numbers are compelling. And so if they decide, they can actually make a difference. The first is that I think they underestimate the value of numeric strength. They don't understand that in a country where we're talking about one man, one vote, if 75% of you are under 35 and you decide this is the person that you want to support, you cannot be ignored. So please start thinking in terms of the value of your numbers. That's number 1. Number 2, I know politics in Nigeria is very expensive. And young people say, well, how can we compete with established politicians who have deep pockets? How can you not compete with them when there are how many millions of you? All it takes is belief and then 100 naira donation from each of you. And before you know it, you have big pockets. Think about 1 million people, young people, standing behind a young candidate, say my daughter here, and deciding to donate just 100 naira to her campaign. How much is that already? My math is awful. How much is that already? 100 million? Exactly. So the point I'm making is, these things need to matter to you, because at the end of the day, you must make the connection between the state of your life and the policies that are being made in Abuja in your name. Success is having people look at you and you inspire them to be better. Success is becoming the best human being that you can be. I don't have to tell you this because you are in this building. We all have divinity in us, all of us. And the struggle is always going to be, which part of yourself do you allow to rise to the top? Is it the divine, godly part of you? Or is it the negative, jealous, frightful part of you? The one that allows fear to determine what you do. Is it fear or is it love that is going to rule you? It's your choice. But I can tell you that it is very unlikely that you'll be successful if fear is what rules you. Finally, let me say again that if you find your passion and you focus and you become unstoppable, you'll be doing it for you. But the truth is, you'll be doing it also for Nigeria, which desperately, desperately needs you. We need you. We need your youth, we need your vigor, your creativity, your courage, your innocence and idealism, your integrity, and your drive. We need you to do well because we need saving. We haven't done too well, my generation, in doing things for Nigeria. But I'm very pleased because there's a new generation like her, like you, that is saying we're no longer going to accept the status quo. And I encourage you to go with that. You must challenge authority. Please be contrary. Don't let anybody tell you you have to be respectful. No. Don't respect roads. Do not respect thieves. Okay? Respect is earned. And very few people in our public spaces these days earn any respect. So please challenge them. Challenge them when you can. Fight them. Fight for the soul of Nigeria. Fight for your future. We need you. Save us.